Now, my friends, when we're talking about presenting, I have seen two common approaches to presenting and two common that I have used. The two that I like to refer them as are known as structured and free-flowing. So let's talk about them both, and let's talk about some of the pros and cons for each. Structured is basically as close to memorization as possible. When I say structured, I want you to imagine, no, it's basically memorization. Structured is you're in a play, is you are in a movie. There is a script. You follow said script. You don't go off the script, unless you're Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Kevin Hart and you can add something in. But besides that, you follow the script to a T. Right? Everything is planned out. If I'm making a video like this, I know, okay, this topic ends at, 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and at 4 minutes and 15, that's when I go into my new topic. Right? So everything's really, really planned out. There should not be any surprises. Whereas free-flowing, in my mind, is you are a little bit more loose. So you have an idea in mind. So a lot of the times, these videos can be free-flowing. I have an idea in mind. I have one or two key points I want to hit. But besides that, this is all just off the top of my head. There's no teleprompter in the back. There's no script that I'm looking at. This is literally just, hey, this is the point I want to emphasize. This is an example. Let's build off that. Now, this is an example. Now, do this. Now, give this analogy. And then you can, press on forward like that. So, free-flowing is a lot of what comes to your mind. And, again, just having one general point and working off that. Now, my friends, the pros and cons to each. Structured. So when I think of structured, one thing that I love is the organization. And it is really safe for people who want to have everything planned out. I know, not just in high school, but in university too. I have a lot of friends of mine. The ones who are big into essays, they love structured. Because they like knowing exactly what's going to happen in exactly which order. They want to cross all their T's and dot all their I's. And that's totally respectful. The con with being structured is sometimes what you'll notice is individuals try to get overly perfect, and when they do that, it hurts their overall performance. For example, those friends of mine that are super big into essays, when they take that sort of an essay/structured approach into presenting, what they do is they want to pronounce every and, if, and that in that particular order. And when they do that, it comes off as, it can come off as sloppy if you do not have it memorized. Structured is great for when you know what you have to say, like it's the back of your freaking hand. If you know what you have to say to a T and you never look down, you're making eye contact, now that's a different topic for another time, but if you have the thing memorized and you want to say everything exactly, that's perfect. The part where things start getting sloppy is when someone doesn't have it memorized and they look down at the script to say, and, that, if. That is just, in my hand, it comes off super unprofessional. If you want to look at the script to reference a specific number, if it is a direct quote, what you want to go word for word, if it's a certain phrase that you want to get right, but if you're looking down because you don't know where the word but is, or you don't know where the word and is, you know what I mean? It just does not come off as good. It just does not come off as professional. The pro is if you have it memorized to a T. So what I would do in high school is when I was usually doing a performance of sorts or a presentation, I would memorize that sucker as if it was a prayer. Word for word. Then I would get to the point where, let's say I knew at 1 minute in, I'd be at this section, and if I wasn't, I could slow down, I could speed up. Furthermore, when I had it structured out, when I knew what timing was going to look like, I could go one further and I could work on my tone, my pronunciation. So let's say if I'm going for drama, if I'm going for suspense, if I'm trying to build up a hype, I'd play with these words, I'd make little markers, I'd say, okay, Daniel, when you finish a sentence here, go sharply. End this word, pop. And then don't say anything for a couple seconds, and then hit him with the next topic, right? So, I'd say something like, the difference between being extraordinary and ordinary is not the desire, but it is the dedication and discipline, right? So I can think about things like pronounce dedication, discipline, desire. We're bringing in alliteration. So the good thing of structured is because you know what you're going to say, you can really plan out your tone of voice. What syllables do you want to pronounce? What things do you want to slow down? What kind of words do you want to stretch out? What words do you want to cut sharply? And when I did that, it was fantastic because you know what you're going to say. You go out there, so you kill the eye contact and you say every and, but, if together. But again, the con with that is if it's not memorized and you start looking down to say and or to say the, but it's like, come on, man, The other side of it, here's where free-flowing comes in. One reason that I love free-flowing is it's me doing this video, or it's a stand-up comedian going up on stage, and they know that they want to hit a certain topic. So they're talking about it, but they're not going to look down. They don't care if they say and here, or if they say and there. They might be presenting something. They might forget to use an example at the beginning, so they'll keep talking, and they'll be like, all right, that example. Then they introduce it later on, right? So it's that improvising. It's that winging it, if you will. Oftentimes people will shy away from it because they think it comes off as unprofessional, that you want to be prepared, that you want to be organized. I would actually take another step and go, a huge pro of free-flowing is it comes off as natural. It comes off as genuine. This, honest to God, is me having a conversation with you. Right? Like, I know what I want to talk about, but I haven't said, like, could you imagine if I would have written, okay, Daniel, you're going to say, but, then you're going to wait a little bit, and then you're going to stutter, and then, right? No, like, this is just me being me, right? And that adds a different bit of wholesomeness, a different genuineness that you want to listen to. So an awesome pro of free flowing is, even though if you forget about something, you can always come back to it later. And even if you introduce the joke in a different way, even though you introduce the topic matter in a different way, as long as you just get like the middle chunk correctly, it doesn't really matter how you want to introduce it, or the certain words that you use, or if you don't say and here, but you say but there, or you use a synonym, it does not matter. And in that sense, you have a lot more leeway. It's a lot more free. You can play around with it a lot more. Now, a big con with the free-flowing structure is sometimes you can, lead away from the topic. So let's say, if I'm going by time-wise and I know what I have to say by when, free-flowing, the other thing that sucks is, let's say I'm getting to this example and I get way too carried away. And I talk about the topic for 2 minutes, but I talk about the example for like 8 minutes. And then I get way too far away and it has to bring me back. And then that gives your speech kind of a feeling of a disorganization, that it's not in sync, it's not synchronized, you're kind of all over the place. And that is the only bad thing with free-flowing. So the positive is it's casual, it's good, you have leeway to be flexible, to say what you want to say, or, but the bad thing with that is you go so left field that you can really get away from the topic, and it can, unfortunately, hurt the overall performance of your speech. So, my friends, once again, I have done both. Both are excellent. I think it depends on how much time you have to prepare, what you're going to say, how you want to come across, because, again, structured is great, it's professional, everything's to a T, it's fantastic. But I really do like free-flowing in the sense of like it's naturalness, it's genuineness, it's wholesomeness. And, in my own opinion, I think the best is an in-between, right? It's, your topic, the key points, you have a couple of examples. Because if you're just going free-flowing, like I've done it a couple of times where I finish a video, I press done, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, man, there was another example I really wanted to include. Whatever. So I really do think it's using both. It's knowing this is what I want to talk about. These are the main points I want to hit. But maybe the way I introduce them, I can, I can just be natural, right? It doesn't have to be totally planned out. So I really do believe, my friends, free-flowing and structured are the two most common forms of speech that I've seen. Have you seen any more? Are there, I know obviously I'm oversimplifying it, putting it into two, but those are the biggest ones that I have come across when I see individuals, where if it's a spectrum, they're either all the way on the left, all the way on the right, but usually you'll find people in the middle here and there. But to my own experience, when people get closer to the middle, that is when I find it most enjoyable. That is when you have my attention. That is when I am intrigued, because this person's nailing all the points. It feels organized. However, they don't come off as robotic, as if I am reading off of a script and saying everything in a certain manner. So that is my total go-to. Now, out of everything, folks, out of all the topics, anything that was interesting for you, please let me know as always. Thank you so much for teaching. Thank you. Thank you so much for teaching. Because you know what happens? Even though this is Danial Teaches, the Danial Teaches account, you're going to comment and you're going to teach me something. You're going to DM me, which I've got many DMs, where you're actually teaching me something new. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for your DMs. I'm excited for your emails. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. Thank you so much for the report, for your appreciation, and for your support. I thank you for joining me on the journey to self-awareness. I wish you a fantastic day. And the Danial Teaches Experience, you can find it on all podcasts, all platforms. Take care of yourself, my friends. Bye-bye.